the same. Is where I'm going with this. We are not the same.
I have the Sonys that I wear in the studio. We're like $300, but they're super light and comfortable. Like, so you barely know you have. I couldn't. I don't know if I could wear these on the show all the time,
Yeah.
because they're a little heavy and kind of clunky. That's the thing with the Audazays. So I think Mandy's going to join us, but I took us live because this is like an informal thing. So,
Yeah.
hey,
It might-
everyone, welcome to the Hacker Syndicate beta live stream. I don't know if I ever want to change the name. I may just
I
keep
know.
calling it the beta live stream.
Beta live stream. Is that for the type of host that we bring on? Is that what
It's too funny, man. Mr. Bill Swearingen has joined us today.
Hey.
Bill, welcome. I think this
Thanks.
is both of your first
first
Hacker
time?
Syndicate.
Yep, first
Did
time.
you?
Yep.
This is like, I wanted to call it Hackers Unsupervised because this is basically what it is. I call it Paul and his amazing hacker friends, right? Mr. Johnny Curran. Those of you for long-time Security Weekly listeners, might remember Johnny, producer Johnny. Producer Johnny now works for Bug Crowd, and dude,
Hell
it's
yeah.
super awesome to have you today, man. I miss you so much.
Yeah, I miss you too, man. I know, and we're so close too in Rhode Island.
I know.
We really have to make time to.
Johnny and I spent a lot of quality time together, man. Like pandemic times, Johnny and I were basically locked in the studio together because we wouldn't let anyone else in.
4.5 months. Yep. And it was the food orders were so easy because
Oh my, it was just the same thing all the
Cosmic
time.
every week, you know.
Mr. Lee Neely has joined us. What's up,
Oh,
Lee?
Lee's here.
Hey guys.
What's going
I
on,
may have to
man?
drop and come back. I have a setting wrong right now.
Yeah, no worries.
Hey, Johnny.
What's going on, Lee? How are you?
Good. I'll be right back.
Okay, no worries. We were just talking about headphones to get things going. Still have a lot of headphones. A lot. More than one person should have.
Yeah, I still have these. I use my and you see these everywhere. You know me, Paul. The HD 280 Pro is the center.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, you can see the band. Like this was all like leather. Just so much.
Yeah.
It's just gone. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The hair on the inside.
Well, we were just talking like nicer headphones. Yeah, right. I like the ones where you can replace the cable, the ear cups, the band.
Yeah.
And there's like a threshold where if you spend a certain amount, you get a headphone where you can actually replace the part. So if you really like them, parts wear out. Like I was just showing, where's my headband wore out. It was all coming apart. So I put a new headband on my headphones because I love these. They're super nice. What's up, Mandy?
Everything. What's up, Paul?
Hey,
Welcome. What's going on?
Everything.
You know
Hi,
everyone
Casey.
here. Johnny
Hi,
hasn't. We haven't seen Johnny in a while. It's good to see you and have you on the show, dude. It's funny. I was thinking of Johnny when we got a boat. I do the Freedom Boat Club thing. So rather than owning a boat, I basically joined a club where I can drive their boats, and you reserve them, which is pretty awesome. I thought it was kind of like Uber, like these were other people's boats, but Freedom Boat actually owns all of them, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and what they do is they buy brand new boats, and then after the season they sell them, and then they buy new ones. So the boat I took out last time was a brand new 2025 Boston dual console Boston Whaler. Dude,
Wow.
the thing was awesome. Like coming back in, I was like, let's see what this thing can do. And it was full throttle. I'm like, this thing is. My wife's going, what are you doing? I'm like, this is so cool.
Punch it.
Yeah, I punched it. It was great. My family of 5 and 2 dogs showed up once to our earlier reservation, and it was a brand new pontoon boat. Like looked like they had just taken like the plastic wrap off.
Yeah.
And here come my family, 5 of us and 2 dogs. I'm like, you sure you want us on this? He's like, as long as you're not cleaning fish, you're good. Because he saw the fishing poles. He's like, you can fish is fine. He's like, if you're cleaning fish, like the carpet and upholstery on the pontoon would be a pain.
So I took, I think I've showed you guys the pictures of this. Last summer, I took my family down to a place in Arkansas, and we rented side-by-sides. And the side-by-side that they gave me, I could tell it was new. I could tell, like,
Yeah.
hey, this thing
It's
looked,
new.
you
mean like an all-terrain vehicle?
like an all-terrain
Yeah, yeah,
side-by-side, like one of the ones that like
crazy
a fancy
suspension?
crazy
Yeah,
suspension.
yeah. We rented those.
Well,
Those things are awesome.
And I was in the in the backwoods, and I ended up so it was a 2-seater, and I ended up flipping it, front over back, and we fell down the mountain.
Yeah.
Fucking wrecked this thing. It was trashed, and I get back up there and I was like, hey man, I wrecked your thing. And he was like, it wasn't the two-seater, was it? And I was like, yep, it was. He was like, you guys were the first ones to take that out. Oh.
Okay, so my brother is an extremely proficient custom welder, and he would fix like the side-by-sides, dune buggies, handrails, and
Nice.
everything. And he would say, he goes, it's shocking the amount of times that people would buy one. They'd go out to the dunes for this first time. They would destroy it, like absolutely crush and destroy the suspension, the frame, everything. And the number of times that they came in and had not insured it yet. And so they were just on the hook for like tens of thousands of dollars because they had done this. Like they purchased it, they would do custom kits, they would do custom tires, wheels, whatever. They would destroy it and it wouldn't be insured.
Oh man.
You guys talking about these like little Polaris things? These off-road?
Yeah.
Hey,
So
what's up, Adrian?
hey,
Good
yeah,
to see you,
I'm
man.
right next to a really popular off-roading course in East Tennessee here. So I see at least a dozen of them every time I leave the house. You know, they're pulling these things on trailers, and yeah, they're 100% covered in mud when they're on the way back.
I gotta tell you,
yeah.
so the first time that I did it, my girlfriend and I, we went out to Moab, Utah, and we rented them out there.
Oh yeah.
That was an experience. That was unbelievable. It was, first of all, you come up to this wall and it is straight 90 degrees up and down, and the guy goes, hey man, just
punch it.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Go
we
for it.
rented him in like upstate
do
New
it.
York, and the same thing, dude. I was like,
Yeah.
are we gonna make that? And I'm like, all right, there's people behind me, so like I gotta
Yeah.
go, and
You
it was
just
it
gotta
was
go.
like
It's
boom, right up, dude.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Unbelievable.
My e-bike is not as fancy as that, but speaking of stuff breaking, my e-bike won't turn on. I have an aerial rider e-bike.
So I want to see a picture of this thing, Paul. Like, I mean, I
so
don't know-
it's a Grizzly.
That doesn't
Oh,
like
like that
aerial
helps. I mean, I'm sorry.
aerial rider. Yeah, I'll share my screen.
I'm glad you asked that, Bill, because I was going to ask the same thing. And
Oh,
Paul, my
Yeah.
friend, a couple of my best friends are all about the PEVs. Like,
Yeah,
one of my best friend Jordan, he just got a Surin.
yeah, I have one of those too.
You have a Surin?
Oh
Yeah.
shit, that thing's
Yeah.
cool.
So this is the Grizzly is 52 volt batteries. It has dual batteries, dual motor. If
Whoa.
you look on Reddit, you can find the hack in the screen to make it go 33 miles per hour. I think that's why it says 28 plus, because a lot of regulations to be a class 2, right, it has to be under 30 miles an hour. But if you want to let extra juice, you can hack it. And I ordered this in like 2020-ish time frame, and it's pretty awesome, but it wouldn't turn on. So I was like, dude, so I emailed support. So after I researched it, right, I emailed support, and they're like, the response I got, I was like, are you serious? Like, okay, you can tell someone like me, like, you don't know, like, I have a lot of electronics
Right.
experience, obviously. So they're like, well, you need to check one of the test points going to the controller display, and you need a multimeter, and you need to take a twist tie, like for your bread, and you need to use that to get a thin enough lead to fit in these things.
Yeah,
And
okay.
That's
I was like,
amazing.
Isn't
Or
that awesome?
paperclip. I mean, come
They're
on.
just telling
So-
normal people to do
Normal
this.
people. And they're like, if you don't, I didn't respond right away because I had to like get my I wanted my nice voltage meter.
So
I got
take a
the nice
twist tie
hand
and
tech.
stick it into this 50 volt whatever.
So this is how I used to change my oil on my 80s BMW. Like you get a little light on that tell you need to change your oil, and to reset that, I knew exactly what pins to stick a coat hanger into, and then you turn the
Right.
ignition on for like 5 seconds with the coat hanger inserted, and it would clear the oil change light.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
look,
my
It's Josh.
my setup looked a little different. So that's my hand tech, which is probably a much nicer piece of equipment than most people have, because I still don't know how to use it. The thing is awesome. It's like an oscilloscope.
Yeah,
and
nicer than what I got.
voltage. Yeah, it's friggin' thing is
Look,
awesome.
it
So I'm
looks like a
this is
TIA.
great, right?
Looks like a graphing calculator had a baby.
Yeah, it's not like very. I have to read every time I use it. But I was able to use these test clips and some DuPont cables. Well, that's my
Yeah.
Meshtastic device. So I actually
Oh, I just
connected-
ordered some Meshtastics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I mean-
we'll talk about
I
Meshtastic
charged
too,
mine.
right?
I don't have
So
it connected to anything.
like DuPont cables fit in there pretty well, and I was like, well, I kind of like that better than a twist
Yeah,
tie,
no, that's much better.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what I sent them.
Yeah,
I also
they're gonna update their instructions with your pictures.
right? So apparently, so I also tested my batteries too. So my batteries are good, and all the cabling is good up to the display. I think I just need a new controller unit, which is what people were saying on Reddit. So, yeah,
How
but it was
expensive are they?
the so controller unit and a button. I think someone said was under $200, like $189 or something like that.
Well, wait, how much does
That's
the whole
not
thing
bad.
cost?
So the bike retails for $3,500.
Okay,
Yeah.
so a couple $100 is a small fraction. It's not
Yeah.
like the whole
Yeah.
thing costs $350. Like,
Yeah, I tested my batteries first because I'm like, if I need new batteries, that's where most of your 3,500 is going. Is in the
Yeah.
batteries.
Oh, so speaking of which, Paul, one of my projects coming up, I've got a whole bucket of disposable vapes.
Oh,
And,
yeah,
Yes.
yes.
I hear I
I-
can make an e-bike battery out of it, so maybe I can ship you an extra.
Adrian,
Right.
we need to collab on this because I've been going down this route too. I've been thinking about doing the same thing, collecting vape
Nobody's
batteries.
recycling these things. They get
Right.
recharged like once or twice and go into fucking trash.
How are
Say
you getting
what?
a hold of them? Like, how are
Can
you
I
getting a
swear
hold
on
of
here?
them?
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah.
Oh,
18,
Oh, yes, you can.
My
just
my
18,
kids is how I'm getting a hold of them.
I think
My
you
kids are
sent me
addicted
the
to these
video,
things.
right? The person that puts all of them
Yeah.
through a battery tester and then solders them all
Yep.
together and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty
Okay,
wild.
I'll be right back. My
That'd be
video just
fun.
got forked.
No worries, Josh. So
Yeah,
yeah,
better.
that was my.
Hey.
I don't have my USB microscope hooked up, but I was also messing with that too.
Wait, back to the Grizzly. I'm actually kind of surprised how much it looks like the last 50cc dirt bike I had.
Right?
Yeah, that thing's sick
That's-
looking. I like
Well,
it.
dude, it flies. So you can put it on dual motor mode. So there's a motor in each of the front and rear tire, and like you can't push the throttle and not have it burn out.
Yeah.
Even
Oh wow.
like 6 foot, 200-pound me sitting on it. Yeah.
But why would you do that?
I know, right? Why would you not want to burn out when you start, right?
Wow.
It's pretty awesome. So
I'm still worried about the kids I see riding those home from school. Not that I care about them riding home from school, but they're riding it on the sidewalk with the other kids that are walking
Yeah.
home
Oh,
from
yeah.
school, and
Running
they're
over
going
other
20
kids.
miles an hour. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
they don't understand.
right.
Yeah, those things fly. My buddy, two of my buddies, they have like the same dual motor scooter, Paul. And I think I was on like a bike path in West Warwick, and I got up to, I want to say 45 miles an hour.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'll say, like, I have a Harley Fat Boy 05 1450cc. The bike weighs like 700 pounds.
Wow.
10 times safer on my Harley
for
versus
sure.
these two, because the
Yes.
scooters are like 150
Absolutely.
pounds. So you're doing 45, and you're
Like
I
on
was like-
nothing.
I was
Yeah.
nervous. Like you
Yeah.
can't go that fast for that long on these things.
Right,
They're
right.
just screwing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my e-bike. I'm glad I got
Nice.
to use my new
So-
Handtech
so
thing. It's pretty dope.
Let's go back, Paul. This thing's not turning on. Is that what you said?
Yeah, so there's a button like on one of the.
Did you charge the battery, son?
Yeah, I charged the
Like, you plug
battery
it in.
and I checked it with my voltage meter to make sure the batteries were actually outputting the correct voltage, which they are. But there's a button here that you have to push to power it on, and it could be that the button is worn out. Now I haven't taken apart the button and see if I can like jumpstart by simulating whatever the button is connecting.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility. Or it could be someone said the control, that little display right there, that control unit could be bad or whatever, or shorted out. So,
So,
yeah.
well, for today, that's actually not a bad thing because today is National Hike with a Geek Day, so you need to hike, not
Right.
ride your bike.
Oh, and this is what mine looks. Mine's red. It looks like this.
Of course it is.
Of course it's red.
It matches your Crocs, right?
Does.
I
Does.
thought
That
you
would
said
be-
crotch.
Can we get you? Wait. Can we get you a matching red denim, Canadian tuxedo to ride around on the thing?
Dude,
on?
No,
Yeah,
he
it-
already
you look-
has the
oh,
red velvet
dude.
jacket. Just wear that.
It's next to
Yeah.
impossible. I think it's impossible
Yeah.
to look cool when you're riding one of these, especially if you're wearing a helmet. I pull up, like
Well.
my wife's walking the dogs, and I pull up, and I'm
You
beating
know.
my horn,
You.
like, and she's like, "Oh no!"
What
Paul.
kind of helmet is it? I forget.
It's like foreshadowing whenever Paul's in his little jazzy scooter when he's like 75.
Yeah.
Pop.
Yes, yes.
Burning out when he takes off.
Doing burnouts.
What were you saying, Johnny?
The helmet that you wear. Is it a
Oh.
full face?
No, I do have a full face one that I bought with my the Charon,
Yeah.
but I also just have like a dorky, bike helmet. I forget
Like a
which
cap,
brand
yeah.
it is.
I
Yeah,
will
like a
say,
cap.
I saw my buddy riding the Cern, and then his buddy. Have you ever looked into the Groms, the gas powered ones? Very, very similar, but they're gas powered. Apparently, you can get them registered without having a.
Yeah, there's certain. I looked into
which
it.
is odd. But
Yeah.
anyway, no. So I mean, the Cerons they look like a dirt bike. I mean, they have like the dirt tires
Yes.
and everything. But he had a full face on it, and like I will say that he looked pretty badass with the full face.
Yeah, the Charon's a little better for that. But my Charon needs to go to the shop too. It's got some damage because it has been ridden hard.
You need to better care of your stuff, Paul.
I know. I have 3 kids, man. So like, who knows? They
Yeah.
put it in the side shed. But the kids have access to it because that's where their stuff is too. So who knows who took it out,
Okay.
who knocked it over.
I think the most important
Yeah.
question is: has anybody else had white and nerdy running through their head when Paul talked about wearing his dorky bike helmet to ride it?
Yeah, it's very dorky.
No, but now I do.
It's very dorky. Yes. So we want to talk about Meshtastic. Is that where we're going next?
I need to check on my shipment, see why it's not here yet.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be here by the time I got back from Armenia.
So this is the ADD coming out in me because if we go to did I add it here? This Week in Security by Hackett. Does anyone else read this? Every Friday, Jonathan Bennett puts this out. And Jonathan's awesome. I don't know if you follow his podcast, but he does the Untitled Linux Show and Floss Weekly. So if you're into like open source and Linux stuff, his coverage is really good.
Nice.
And apparently he's writing this article saying that he introduced this key, some kind of key issue with Meshtastic. So I think he's a contributor to
Nice.
Meshtastic. So when I saw this, that they had an eye-watering 9.5 CVSS CVE in it. It's something to do with the keys that for encrypting and authenticating direct messages.
They're basically, some of those keys are hard coded, which is
Yeah.
a big no-no.
Big no-no.
And that's one of the reasons I've actually stopped buying Meshtastic gear until I figure out if it's going to be fixable.
Yeah, so he says in this article, this is what got me down the path, that it's fixed in 2.6.11. So if you go
Oh, it is?
to yeah,
Oh,
if
that's
you go
awesome.
you go to the Meshtastic flasher, I flashed my LilyGo T-Deck. This isn't the Pro, the Plus. So the Pro looks different.
Paul's
Pro-
a flasher.
I know, right?
That's what I picked up on too. So, but
So,
wait.
I have the Plus, and so this is the Plus running the latest version of Meshtastic, which 915 megahertz is the frequency for the U.S. So make sure you get that one if you're in the U.S. And these are $70. You can pay an extra $7 and they'll put Meshtastic on it for you, but don't do that. That's a waste of
don't do
$7. The Meshtastic flasher is great. You hold this middle button down. It's like a little rolling. It's kind of like a BlackBerry. It's got one of the little rolling buttons, and you can push it.
Trackball.
Yeah, trackball, thank you. If you hold that in while you power it on, it goes into bootloader mode, and then you just go to the Meshtastic flasher site, select your device, and like flashing it is very, very easy, comparatively
So
speaking.
for those
Yeah.
of us that don't know what a Meshtastic is, what is it, Paul?
Oh yeah, so it's LoRa communications, so it's kind of like off-grid mesh-based
It's-
communications.
It stands for long range, LoRa, long range. It's effectively long range wireless that doesn't require a centralized, like a cell tower. However, it is low bandwidth. Don't expect to be sending videos across. But for
like for
telemetry,
chat.
for
Yeah.
text messages, for chat, for a lot of some people have ported ATAC, the Android Tactical Awareness Kit, I think it is, over to to use Meshtastic. So it's fantastic for, like Paul said, off-grid or I don't want to be using something that's tracked, or not that anybody here would ever do anything like that.
Right.
No,
But,
no. Nobody
Yeah.
would.
Now, previous versions of Meshtastic require that you use an app on your smartphone to connect Bluetooth to the Meshtastic device to actually do anything. But this newer version of Meshtastic has the interface like on the display. So I used my keyboard, and I was like, "This is great! I can actually use the device." I also added an external antenna. So they also sell a model with an external antenna. Don't spend the money on that because you can get these antennas for like a few dollars on Amazon. And then if you have this device, you want to hit this YouTube video. And this guy Ray shows you exactly what to do to install the antenna. Like, it's step by step. It is not hard. There's like a little bit of the plastic here where this antenna goes in. It's like a cutout, so you just get like a little Dremel tool and just bore it out, or even an X-Acto knife just to cut out the middle, and then I bored it out with a little rotary tool, and then your antenna goes in just fine. And it was pretty easy to take it
sick.
apart and put the antenna in. So,
Adrian, what Meshtastic device did you buy? Did you buy the same one?
No. So I was just looking that up because it was so spontaneous I couldn't even remember where I bought it from. But it was something from Circuit Mess, which is apparently based in Croatia.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah.
yeah, so you can see you already bored out the hole. And you
Oh
just
yeah, so
put
it like
And it
was just
looks
ready.
like it's probably in my mailbox. I just
nice.
haven't checked my mail. Have I checked my mailbox? No, I did check my
Let's
mailbox.
all go get his mail before he does.
Yeah.
What's your address?
1, 2, 3, 4. F off.
So I'm actually trying to
That's the same as
design
mine.
and build a Meshtastic repeater because I want to set up a Meshtastic repeater
Yeah.
at the house and then give my kids a couple of those devices so they have phones.
Somebody's
Well,
got some echo
Awesome.
going on.
So,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I don't hear any.
Riverside's been doing this weird thing where sometimes people will hear echo, but I don't hear it. It happened to me on Wednesday
don't hear
for Below
any.
the Surface as well.
I heard it when I got loud.
Yeah, it's super weird. I don't know what's going on.
Wait, Josh, so on the Meshtastic, it's not device to device comms. It actually goes through a mesh or
No. It is device to device. It can go through a mesh, and you can set up a repeater. Although it's not really a repeater. Like if you want to be really pedantic, it's just
Of
a
course I do.
Josh, let me
not
introduce you
Here
to
for the
Whitney.
pedantry, please.
So, but they also make just the regular T deck. They make a bunch of it. Oh yeah, so the regular T deck is $43. So I have one of these too, and this is just the board with the keyboard and the display, and then you can 3D print a case, which I did for this one and for the Heltec device, and for the T Beam, which is another LilyGo product. Here's your T Beam is $30.
Which is your favorite, Paul? Like, which
I'm
one
not-
is your favorite?
So I really like the T Deck Plus because I didn't have to do anything really fancy to get it going with an external antenna, right? It's kind of like the lazy person's way to do it, because it comes with a case already. I haven't gotten all the other things like loaded up with Meshtastic and the cases and stuff. I think on future Hacker Syndicate ones, Larry will try and get to the studio. And then we'll be, I have to solder the screen on one of them. I have to do the one where you do the heat inserts, so you can heat up the insert and push it into the case to act as a receptacle for the screws. So I gotta, do all that stuff. So, if you want more projects, you order the boards and then
so
you do it
the
yourself.
reason why I ask is we SecKC, I'm sure I've talked about it a lot, but SecKC is the Kansas City security meetup. It is just exploding. We moved to a new location and we're bringing in a lot of like really big name talkers, those kind of things. One of our meetings in this year, I'm not going to disclose which one, but we're going to have a Meshtastic device or giveaway where we're giving away hundreds of these things, and I want to make sure that we're giving away the cool ones, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
The Heltec ones are pretty cool. I know a bunch of people had those when we went to ShmooCon. And they're pretty cheap too. So if you're gonna buy
mean
a
this
bunch
one?
of them, hold on, I'm gonna show you. I ordered mine from Amazon, I think.
Yeah, is it the one that Mandy's showing?
It could be. Could be. I can't tell because it has a case on it. But I ordered these.
That's my video
So I
wonky
got-
again.
Yeah, I got 2 of them for $44. You can also get these from AliExpress. So, like, I don't know. It all depends on which way the trade winds are blowing as to if you can get stuff from China, right? But you can get them from Amazon, and then you can 3D print cases for these. So I got a couple of these. I have at least one of these that in the studio that I want to do on the show. But apparently, also the antenna, that antenna that comes with it, is no good. One of my friends said, like,
Oh.
no good. Use a different antenna. So,
That sucks.
well, I mean, you know, for $22 a piece or whatever.
Oh, that's for a set of 2? Oh, damn, that's
That's
not
for a
bad.
set of 2. Yeah. Yeah, and these work just fine. Apparently, I don't remember the difference between the versions, but people tell me
Yeah,
these
but
work
how
fine,
do you
Bill.
how do you type on those? Like
So
how
this
do you
one-
send a message?
You would have to pair with
You-
your Bluetooth app on your phone.
You
Yeah,
shake
got it.
it, and every shake is an ASCII
Right.
code.
Like like that. What was that? Like the T1 codes where you like 111. Like,
Right.
You know to.
Oh, I was
choo-choo-choo.
thinking more T9. You just
Or
have to get
T9. Yeah, that's yeah.
P9
that's
texting,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, T1 sounds challenging.
Hit phone with rock.
And here I was thinking, you're leading up to you have to shake it to reboot it. I mean,
Yeah.
It reminded me of the cable we talked about where you hold a magnet to it to put
Yeah.
it in bootloader mode. I still want to know how that works because that's pretty friggin' awesome.
Well, so I think that there is a like a magnetic sensor, right? And you just that it senses that. So Josh, speaking of SetKC, something I wanted to bring up when you joined.
What's that?
What's this I heard about you wanting to be in a bathtub with Lintile or
Paul.
something like that?
Well,
No, that's
Josh
Paul.
wants to join. That's Paul.
But I'm happy to be a third wheel in that case.
Okay,
I will
so
I will
and I
MC
told
that.
Lentile I was. Well,
So I don't know what's going on, but from what I hear, this is being set up. Like plans are being made that the bathtub is being found.
I was
Like
gonna
all
say,
the-
there's like a stage because when you guys had Joe Grand, it looks like your venue has like a pretty awesome
Oh,
stage.
it's amazing. You guys, I can't wait for you.
I'll
to
tell
see
you
it.
what.
It's incredible.
You make it a wading pool, and I'll join them on stage.
Well, so like it's becoming a thing. So what is this about, the whole pool thing?
Well,
what is,
Jeff
or
shared
bathtub?
Jeff Mann shared a picture in our internal signal that showed Lintile and some other people in a bathtub together, drinking cocktails. And I was like, oh, that's my new bucket list item. I want to be in a bathtub with Lintile drinking cocktails. But they were like fully clothed. There was no water in the tub. But they were just sitting fully clothed, drinking cocktails in the tub together.
I mean, if we're gonna take it up a notch, you know that
I know.
a couple of those things are gonna have to disappear.
Right. Pants are optional, okay?
okay, I've done something close to this with Lentile before at Circle City Con.
Yeah, but
with
that was with spaghetti in the tub. So
No, it
Oh.
wasn't. It was a kiddie pool full
Okay.
of jellies, like
Orbeez, Orbeez.
Orbeez. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
okay, that's
That would
pretty
actually
cool.
be pretty cool.
Well,
Oh,
so
yeah,
the
it
venue, I can't wait for you guys to see the venue. We asked them, hey, what can we get away with? And the guy said, Bill, we've literally had people pull out the toilets from the walls. So whatever
Wow.
you guys want to do is cool. Like, so this is an OG like music venue place for Kansas City. In the green room there are legendary singers that have signed the walls at this place. You guys are gonna love it. The stage is amazing. The venue's amazing. It's great. I can't wait to have you guys out. And we are gonna get a bathtub, and we're gonna make this happen.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
What about a horse trough? Can we make it a horse trough?
Oh my God, that is so Kansas. Hell
Yeah, right? I'm sure you
Yeah.
can find those at your local
probably easier
Tractor
to get in
Supply.
large size
It
in
is-
the bathtub.
Yeah.
It is effectively a really tall bathtub.
That's right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Mandy done. And the sticker opportunities are fantastic on a horse trough. So you're done. Yep.
I like it. I approve.
I'm there. We'll do it. When is
I gotta-
second
I'm gonna-
series here?
September.
Yeah, I gotta
September?
check. I gotta check the
You got it.
dates and get my permission slip signed.
Yep. So
I'll
we're
ask
shooting
your
for
wife.
September. Yeah.
If you
we're
ask my
shooting for
wife, Paul, I'll
September.
ask
Paul's
yours.
gonna have.
Well, it's my wife, my day job, the podcast schedule, like all that has to. Stars have to align.
The stars have to align.
Yeah.
First world problem.
So then, whoever's editing this, can you bleep out that month that I mentioned? Because we don't actually know yet. Then.
Oh,
Well,
I'm sorry.
It's live stream, so there's.
That's the
So,
joke.
as I was
that
trying to
literally
message
the
back
joke.
macro.
Long as it's not
disregard.
November. Long as it's not November, because that's when B-Sides Delaware is. And I
So
got to
it's
be
not-
here for that.
It's not. It is not November. For
Good.
we have a very very cool November planned, and it's not November.
I'm terrified of what you think is a cool November, man. By the way, I like the glasses. They look good on you. They're new?
Thank you. Yes. And
Are
they're-
those just computer glasses or? Oh, they're not. They're not even.
They're just for fashion?
Just a fashion
I
statement.
used to do that. I used to do
Oh
the
my
exact
God.
same.
Did they not have
So-
lenses in them? I missed that.
No,
Yeah,
they
he just
don't.
put his
So-
fingers through 'em.
I'm
They're
jealous
literally
though,
just-
because I
yeah.
have to wear glasses to be able to see the screen.
Oh,
So-
listen, man.
Yeah.
Once I turn like 45, I certainly need glasses. I just haven't done it.
Yeah,
yet.
right,
Like,
right.
You know, like,
3
I,
for
I
18
was
at
just-
Costco. Here you go.
yeah.
I was just checking out the Meta just announced their next glasses partnership with Oakley instead of Ray-Ban this time. And they have an upgraded camera and twice the battery life. And
Yeah.
I very much I love my Meta glasses, and I'm kind of excited about these.
So what's interesting is right to my left, right here. It's not in frame, but I've got a USB microscope with a screen that I ordered for $30 on AliExpress, and it's as fabulous as $30 gets you on AliExpress, right?
Very cool.
Which say it's very basic. But what I want is something that I can see the screen. So while I'm working on electronics, also has a HDMI or USB camera feed, so I can show it on a live stream and see the screen at the same time. So the $30 one does not have.
I
any
think
of
the one
those
I have has
features,
that.
yeah.
I
need
to
a
go
better one.
check. Yeah, I'll go check, but I think mine has that.
eBay
And-
But
and
eight-
Hybid.
Okay. You'll have to send me it. All right, let me make a note of that.
yeah,
What is
Yeah,
the
the
brand
glasses
again?
are great for hands-free video of like unboxing or whatever you might be doing.
Yeah,
but
so that's
I
where I was
think the
going.
limit's
Adrian.
like 3 minutes.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if I can get glasses, right, and be looking at it and have it stream what I'm looking
You can
at.
to Instagram. You can live stream with these glasses to
That's
Instagram.
pretty awesome.
I've never
That'd be
done it,
awesome.
but
Yeah.
but yeah, the videos that you save, I think it's like 3 minutes long, and it's
Okay.
all vertical video.
Yeah.
Is one of the catches here.
Like
There's no
I want
landscape.
well, maybe that's a Vision
Just-
Pro or something, but I want glasses that have magnification, so I can zoom in like a microscope, and then also
That would be cool.
that would be cool, right? I
Yeah,
don't know.
there's no visual. So the Meta glasses, it's just all audio and video. Like you ask
Yeah.
it to do things. You can. It has a virtual assistant that's AI based. It's actually really good. It's
I
what
want to
Siri
test it
should
out
be,
for
but they
looking
haven't
at
Siri yet.
I want to look at a PCB with the glasses on, and I want to all right, tell me what all those chips are.
Now those are coming, though, with the video built in, and so we should be able to do that pretty soon. I
So
would think.
let me be clear. Paul wants a set of glasses that can live stream while he magnifies what he's looking at. And
Yes.
nobody, except for me, starts laughing.
I don't want to see. I don't want to.
There are some use cases that no.
I need at least a 5x zoom, okay?
Sounds like a personal problem.
Very personal.
I did, but as soon as I set this microscope up, which is still kind of wonky, I don't know. Now it turned
We
off,
got
went to
Josh.
sleep, or something. But I see my bent pin. So
Yeah.
the J, what is the battery connector build? The J
JTAG?
something.
No.
JST.
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 So it's just two pins, and I bent one of the pins on my LilyGo CC1101 T, whatever that device is, and I need to bend it back, but I couldn't see well enough because is tiny. If you've ever seen a JST Connect, right, it's tiny. So now I just gotta get a tool and just bend that pin back so I can use it
Carefully.
very carefully. Yeah, I don't want to snap the pin off because then that would be bad.
Then there's a new project which might be more expensive than buying a new one.
Which would be soldering. Yeah.
And you might want to
Right,
heat up the pin and then
solid,
bend it back.
Right.
Oh well, yeah, but do you want to do that with a blowtorch or what?
Well, the hot air rework.
Oh, that'll work.
Yeah, might want to get it down to. They have small nozzles for those.
Hair dryer.
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Oh, hair dryer. Yeah, the hair dryer's not as. Yeah.
Well,
I also have a heat pad
Concentrator.
that I use for repairing smartphones, where you
Yes.
just lay something on it, and you set the temperature of the pad.
those are awesome.
And then the cat shows up and destroys the smartphone. So
No, those are awesome.
Cats.
come on, you put a heat pad
That's
on.
pretty
and All I
fun.
can think of is
Basically the
cat bird.
bane of our lives.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Does that
it's,
loosen
it's
all
really nice.
all the like resistors and everything, or it depends on how much heat you're throwing at it?
Oh no. The whole use case for this for me is for disassembling a smartphone where like everything's glued together because
Oh,
everything's glass. So I need to get that. To do anything on a modern smartphone, you got to get that front glass removed,
Yep.
and which means you got to melt glue.
And it's a nightmare too, isn't it?
No, it's not that at all.
They have a pad you can put in the microwave. It heats it up, and then you put that like on top of the.
I've got that
screen.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The eye opener. iFixit calls it the eye opener.
Oh, is that
and
an
it's like a
iFixit
gel
Yep.
in a packet. Yeah, you put it in there for 30 seconds, and this is so much easier.
The
because
heat pad is easier.
the iPad is just long, so you have to put it on one side for a couple of seconds, then the other side, then that first side is cooling off. Like this way,
Dude,
you
I
can
tell you
heat
what.
everything evenly. Yeah.
My day job is all about this hardware hacking content. So I've written some articles on hardware hacking, and apparently they perform the best on our blog. So our new CEO
yeah.
is like, "Can you do
It's-
more of that?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I can do more
Yeah.
of that." Like,
It's
this is just
visual,
fun for me.
It's
yeah.
it's tactile. It's
Yeah.
I
Super
think that makes it
interesting.
more interesting.
Yeah, Matt
Agreed
Brown does a great
entirely.
job doing that too. I don't know if you checked out Matt Brown's YouTube channel.
I have, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
plus,
awesome.
there's the risk of releasing the magic blue smoke. I mean, come on.
Right for added
Yeah.
visual effects.
Doesn't go
Everything
back
smokes
yet.
once.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd watch Paul.
So Johnny,
So-
what if I want to ask Johnny what he's doing at Bug Crowd, because we love Bug Crowd, we love Casey.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, what do you do at Bug Crowd?
Yes. So back in, I think like mid-February, I got promoted up to the public sector team, which is awesome. So I am the first full-time SDR for public sector at Bug Crowd ever since its inception.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been awesome.
So are you cold calling people?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's rough, dude.
Oh, it's
I was
Yeah,
just
not
watching. I read someone's LinkedIn post about cold calling and what they do when people cold call, and how they're empathetic to people cold. Like, oh, this person was in sale. I just happened to be reading the LinkedIn feed, and he was like, yeah, but I get cold calls and I try and guide them. Like, they don't even know my title, and like, I know you're an SDR and you're cold calling. You should have a database, or at least go to LinkedIn, as you well know, John. Who am I calling? What are they doing? Kind of thing.
yeah. For me, it is very strategic. We always hear a lot.
Much more. Mm.
Yeah, and I've learned so much from like people that I've worked with on the team, but a lot of people like the spray and pray.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just it looks good numbers. Like what's
And that's
coming
what he
back,
was
what's
saying too.
back.
He's like, the person
Return
was pushing me for a meeting because he's like, look, I do want to evaluate your product. He's like, but I'm not going to be ready till like August. SDR was pushing, no, we need a meeting next week because he wants to meet his quota, right? And he's like, you just ruined the sales.
So I
Like,
kind
you
of feel
gotta
like
have patience, right?
I wish that I would have received training about this when I was an executive because I was nobody told me, like, I didn't quite understand the sales cycle. I didn't understand how would I be helping,
Right.
coaching, or like I wish I understood that when I was an executive. Now after I left CenturyLink and went to a startup, I saw all that and I realized it dawned on me how sometimes I was purposely being a jerk.
Who,
But
you, Bill?
other times I
No.
was like, yeah, right. But then sometimes I wasn't. But it would have been I should have just given them the hard no, like a fast
Yeah.
no, right? I wish they would have taught me some of those things because I didn't really understand how I was impacting the sales guy or the SDR, that whole sales process.
I'll do that too, because a lot of times SDRs will call me because I'm in a database from Security Weekly. And I'm like, I am not a purchaser of cybersecurity solutions. So I'll tell them, like, look, I know your role, I know your company, I know your product even, but I'm like, don't waste your time with me. Go call the next person. And they're like, I'm like, just believe me, like the last time we spent on the phone together is probably better. I'm not going to be the purchaser of your product.
Yeah, I think, and again, like the strategic approach, it's always how I have been. I think it was just like ingrained in me, like never just like felt right, like pulling a list and just like spraying it out to a bunch of people because I did enterprise before public sector, so I just I got to see a lot of different tactics and look at a lot of different things and just always found that the strategic approach is always the best. Like when I'm calling someone, like again, like you said, Paul, like not that I'm like studying or analyzing their LinkedIn, but like I know why I'm calling this specific person in this persona in this IPC with a specific solution. Like it's not like, hey, can we maybe hopefully talk? And I think the other thing is like, to your point, like somebody just trying to like I call it like forcing somebody into the corner, back against the wall to try to take. That's never my approach. It's like it has to be some kind of want. You have to see the value in the solution that I'm trying to present. It makes sense, and if it doesn't, shake it, walk away.
So, Johnny, public sector, that means your target is the government agencies or contractors?
That's what I was going to ask.
Give the government agencies, the defense industrial base.
Yeah, a lot.
Infrastructure is who you're trying to get bug bounty programs into.
Yeah, and I mean, bug awesome work with a lot of the
yeah, of course.
It's the programs that we have that are so cool.
Yeah, huge history with Hack the Pentagon and all that, right?
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. The VDP programs that are running, steps and things like that. It's super cool. And I think for me, with all of y'all, like I didn't know cybersecurity was in 2017, the industry, and then like realizing like what we're doing in the public sector, how much it makes it. I think that's the thing that drives me. Like we're helping secure the critical infrastructure of the United States. I think that's like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that I was gonna like this space this much as I do, but I continue to like it more and more as I progress and continue to move forward. So it's super cool. I'm blessed.
Awesome.
Really
Rock and roll. Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
Congrats. It's awesome to work.
Yes. I would like to see more firmware network companies do bug bounties. Casey and I have talked about this, and he has these very flippant responses sometimes. And he's like, well, I mean, China's just going to do it for you. Like, nation state adversaries, they're going to do your bug bounty program. Or you can have a bug bounty program. The whole free
pen test.
Yeah.
Free pen test, but you don't get the report.
Yeah, exactly.
That line, like you're getting a pen test every day, you're just not getting the results. It's so true.
It's funny, like it makes me think about 3 or 4 years ago, Senior Vice President of Union Pacific Railway, I was talking with him and like suggesting more, like discussing more about bug bounty and penetration testing, and he got absolutely, it's the only time I've really been completely blocked from everything that we had been connecting on. He was like, I don't understand why, because he had an IT background. He was a technical person. And then as I was talking about, like, well, why wouldn't you want to do this? Like, and as I discussed a few other things about China and stuff, he got absolutely shut down and was like, no, I will not discuss this, and like cut off and blocked everything. So I'm like, I don't know what you thought was going on, but hopefully you have a better chance, because that was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, so many, I was looking at this recent Zixil thing that we talk about on the show. I don't know if you saw this. It was like the Dutch did an investigation. They had Zixil devices. Recently, Gray Noise bought exploitation of a 2023 CVE that I wrote an article about. This is the vulnerability in Zixil devices that's with their IPsec component that I think it was the one that was like, what is this component? And traced it back to some proprietary software that was made by a company that was bought and sold almost as much as the product today.
Boom.
Right? And I'm like, so how many other devices have this IPsec software in it and don't know they're vulnerable now because it's a component that's been recycled? And Gray Noise saw that there were 244 IP addresses for this vulnerability. And I'm like, hang on. With 244 IP addresses, you could probably scan the entire internet, like, pretty fast. So if you haven't patched CD...
Scan it with one pretty fast.
Yeah. So 2023-28771, if you've got a Zixel device and you haven't patched it, I can say with a high degree of confidence you're probably already owned at this
Too late. Yeah.
Just too late. Like, they've already scanned the entire internet. If it was internet facing, they've owned it, and it's part of their botnet now.
What was the CV?
2023-28771. It's an OS command injection. Oh, via UDP, which is interesting because it's in the IP protocol. So Gray Noise said the IP addresses, the source IP addresses, were all Verizon business customers in the U.S. But since it's UDP, they can totally spoof whatever IP address. So those are probably not the IP addresses it came from.
Yeah. So do you know what if you know, Paul, you said that if you have this device and you haven't patched it, probably owned. What do you do if you are? Is it a reboot thing? Upgrade your firmware?
It might just be memory resident.
Probably. If it's Mirai, it could be memory resident. Though they're getting pretty savvy, a lot of attacks against these devices themselves in the firmware. So if you're upgrading the firmware or restoring from a backup, like let's say you upgrade or factory reset, then you restore your backup, the malware has its hooks in the backup. And actually someone that used to work for Eclipsium, Nate Warfield, wrote articles with proof of concepts to show you how to do that on different platforms. And since then, we've seen attackers use similar techniques. Basically, it's Linux. You embed a shell script or something in the backup, so when it gets restored, it runs that shell script and reconnects it to the botnet.
Boom.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
I just don't know, like, who uses Zixil. I want to say,
maybe retail.
I think
Well,
it's,
so those devices are provided by so I know
They
that
do have some,
CenturyLink
yeah.
or Lumen, had some. They're just kind of like your standard DSL modem that are provided by your.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
well, that's some of them. These
Like Alcatel, right?
Yeah.
I think the USGs are meant for small business and enterprises too. So they try and they do provide devices for that more consumer ISP market. They do small business, but they also do larger infrastructure things with their larger enterprise line that I find is like popular in Europe, is from my assessment.
Yeah, they look like a Ubiquity competitor.
TP-Link, Zixel, their higher end stuff is Ubiquity competitors, but I don't have much hope for their security levels.
Yeah, I mean, Eclipsium found a flaw too, and they removed the component in the next release of the firmware and didn't issue a CVE for the flaw that we found. Because they're like, well, we don't have that software anymore.
Somebody I know just went to one of these companies to be to like head up their product security or something like that, and I'm trying to remember which company it was and who it was.
Was it TP-Link?
Might have been TP-Link.
It was, because they've got a huge push for security because U.S. Congress was like, TP-Link, you need to improve your security. I'm like, I don't know why you're like hot.
Yeah,
they were gonna boycott them entirely.
Yeah, that's right. I think they did, or I can't remember. But I remember we talked about this on the show. But they were,
And Johnny, I think they did did they do a bug crowd? I think they might have done a bug crowd.
Sounds right.
Bug bounty program.
TP-Link or
TP-Link?
I think they did.
TP-Link.
Yeah, because I know Netgear has one, which is really good, by the way. Matt Brown's actually gotten some payouts from Netgear's bug bounty.
They actually did something pretty cool. Vlad Gostom, who we've had on the show, is now their head head of the red team for TP-Link.
That's probably what it was, Adrian. It's Vlad.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So he's busy.
Well, yeah, I mean, so you create a bug bounty program. I believe Larry's company, has some public press releases. They've done some stuff together, and you hired a really good hardware hacker, an amazing hacker and pen tester with Vlad. So that shows a true commitment to security. I mean, it's one thing just to go, I'm spinning up a bug bounty, I'm trying to do some hand waving. Like, the real commitment comes to, We have a real bug bounty program. We're hiring people on the red team. We're partnering with reputable cybersecurity companies to do evaluations.
Yeah, he's hiring a full red team. He's hiring like crazy. I think he hired 3 people last week. He's got 4 or 5 more on the way. So yeah, TP-Link is hiring red teamers. Just FYI.
So I like to see companies building out red teams. Disney just hired Chris Gates. He just made a move. He's at Disney now. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Walmart laid off Amelie. So like, you know,
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
It's super weird.
that was dumb. She's amazing. But what are you gonna do? They laid off like 1,000 people, and Intel is laying off another 10,000, something like that. It's crazy.
Fire a million
It was
from one of the small.
It was so
app
funny.
companies.
Somebody just shared a book with me that's all about like getting ahead or like staying ahead in business by being paranoid and stuff like that. And like they're telling me about this book, and I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. Like talking about business resilience and all that. And then the author is like the head of the board for Intel. I'm like, oh my god. Like the irony, the company that missed mobile, missed GPUs, like how many freaking markets, ships broken CPUs. Like, oh my goodness. Like that's the irony is just delicious there.
Let's standardize on their products.
I've been digging at GPUs recently, partly for work because we're supporting the Blackwell GPUs that are used for AI data centers. And so it's begging a lot of questions, such as how do I update the firmware on my GPU? Like, what if an attacker would be able to get into a firmware in a GPU? That could be interesting. But I'm like, so how do I update the firmware? And I was asking Perplexity, and I was like, oh my god, I'm like really, I can't believe I asked that because it's a complete nightmare. Apparently, so what I've discovered so far, and I don't know how true it is, that on Linux, I can't update the firmware on my GPU. What Perplexity told me was it's Windows-only utilities that allow you to update it, but it's not just the model GPU you have, it's whoever was the OEM that brought that GPU to market that controls the firmware for it. Much like desktops with HP, Lenovo, Dell, right? They're doing your firmware updates for your components. So in my case, I have an Asus 1080 Ti, and I don't know how to get the latest firmware on it, or if there's even firmware available for it, which is interesting.
But the first half of your comment sounded like even if you had the firmware, you needed a Windows utility to do it.
Correct. That's what it told me, that I need, what did it call it? It called it something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it'd be offensive. I mean, you could boot a thumb drive and stuff, but that's still crazy.
It said, it's the
Thanks,
VBIOS.
Mario.
But there's multiple chips that have firmware on a GPU. I think the VBIOS is the main one. And it said, to update your VBIOS, you must download the correct VBIOS for your GPU from your GPU manufacturer's website. Asus, MSI, EVGA, not NVIDIA directly. Their updates are almost always performed from Windows using tools like NVFlash. That was the utility it recommended. I don't know if it's hallucinating. I haven't validated that claim. But it's like, well, if you're Linux, you're going to need a Windows USB bootable drive. And I'm like, oh. So this is how I update my vPro, whatchamacallit, NVIDIA, Intel ME software, firmware, right? There's no Linux utility to do that. You got to use Windows. So now my next search was, how do I use Rufus to build a custom Windows 11 bootable USB drive that I can then take to all my Linux systems and load it with the software to update all the components that I can't update from Linux. This is my whole thing. Like, I thought I was locking down my systems until I started at Eclipsium and realized that there's all this other stuff I need to update. And now I'm realizing my GPUs are on that list as well.
Too bad you can't use NVFlash because there is a Linux version.
Interesting. Yeah, I would imagine it doesn't. it doesn't matter. I would imagine that it's very similar from like a Linux driver, like the one we create for like dumping your SPI flash, that it's a similar kind of thing. It just needs the right permissions and drivers to update the firmware.
Yep.
I also don't want to brick my GPU because that could suck.
That would be bad.
That would be bad.
No,
I
no.
finally found that book I was talking about. It's called Only the Paranoid Survive.
Yeah, so Intel had those the ARC graphics cards, which
And they're doing pretty well.
are they okay? Because a lot of gamers are not big on them. Is that true?
Well, they're not. They're only just now starting to put out higher powered ones. They were kind of aiming at the mid market, like
Yep.
affordable, like 40 60 level, maybe 40 70 level, but not really competing at the 40 90.
Right.
It's funny. Everybody's redone their naming so that it aligns with Intel now.
I noticed that because even AMD did that. That was a rabbit hole I went down. I'm like, if I wanted to upgrade my
Yeah.
card, what would I do? And it's the Radeon RX 9070 and the Radeon AI Pro R9700 were the ones it recommended that compete with the RTX 5090.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody uses the same verbiage so that you can show which ones do which. Some of them are better for gaming, some of them are better for NPU style AI stuff, some of them are better for I have no idea what I'm buying. So,
Yeah, there's this one, this Asus Nuke. Since Intel doesn't do the Nooks anymore, they sold that business to
Yeah.
Asus. And the one I've got here has a laptop 4060 embedded in it.
Mm-hmm.
But still it's pretty nice. It's about the size of a, I don't have a book that size here, but like a hardback book, a fairly thick
Yeah.
hardcover novel or something like that.
I was looking at if I were to upgrade my 1080 Ti, the RX 9070 XT is $600. Because I don't do any gaming. I just want
Right.
a better graphics card. But then
Well, I
get
mean,
into,
if you want to do some local,
yeah,
play around with local models, inference, that kind of stuff.
that's where it recommended the AI Pro R9700, which was more. I don't remember what that one cost. Doesn't list it in the. Oh, it's because it's not out yet. That's why. They haven't assigned a price to it yet, I don't believe. But yeah, that's what they recommend for AI workloads. Power draw on an RTX 5090 is approximately 578 watts.
Wow. I don't think I've ever built a computer that uses that much power, much less a GPU that uses that much power.
So, like, what do you need? I think I was specking out, like, what would you need for you need dual power supplies at that point if you're gonna build a beefy system and put a 5090 in it. You're already over 500 watts just for your GPU.
Well, I mean, 1,000 watts is pretty standard for a power supply
Yeah.
these days, though.
Right.
But yeah, you're talking about having a dedicated circuit
Right.
for your
your
PC.
I would almost go dual power supply and just power the GPU off one and then the rest of the system off the other one.
Like Paul would have to choose: are you charging the car or are
Yes.
you using the computer?
Yeah,
Right?
you can't do both.
Can't-
no. Just think of it. Turn the furnace off. That's all.
Yeah. Save electricity somewhere. We've all got flashlights because I can't have that much power to draw.
I've only got a 60 amp panel in my house. Oh, you can't get this new video card.
Right?
When you have to check your power panel for your video card, you've got some issues here.
Right.
I mean, it's funny. We've been going towards small form factor and tiny and whatever else forever. Now we're going for bigger. Like, what's the power supply in your biggest computer right now?
I think so my computer right now is a Threadripper, one of the older ones, but it's
Me too.
28 cores, 256 gigs of RAM, and it's at least probably a 1,200 watt power supply I put in this one.
So I'm with Adrian. I think so it's a Threadripper. It's an older generation, but I think it's 1,000. Like, you know,
1,000. Yeah, that's my beefiest one, I think.
The Threadripper is a great platform actually for workstations. Like if you just want a beefy workstation, I've been enjoying my Threadripper. It's pretty awesome. So this computer's almost 5 years old now, and I can run a lot of VMs, containers, Chrome tabs. Like I can throw everything at it, and it's like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. You're fine.
that's how mine is too.
Except when the only thing that ever taxed my CPU was when I built OpenBMC with the Yocto build. And it utilized all the cores and was like 80-90% on all the cores. And I was like, wow, that's kind of impressive.
Wait,
And I'm sitting here,
haven't-
I've been going to smaller and lighter. The biggest power consumer on my desk is the monitor.
Right?
The computer is under 100 watts.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this embedded
Laptop.
one consumes.
Laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And my NUC is, again, similarly low powered. That's where I run my VMs, but I don't run, these days I don't run very many of them. Other stuff I've just hosted.
Josh, how is your Manjaro Linux coming along? Are we still waiting for the driver to have the virtual camera?
So there is now a 31.1 OBS Studio beta, so I'm going to be installing that over the weekend and trying it and see what happens.
Nice. We're into these weird things. We just got to let the developers get everything on the latest version kind of thing. It's annoying.
I've got Teams running, I've got Chrome, I've got just about everything
dude.
except for the virtual camera, and it's a fully functional workstation. The one thing I'm still getting used to the, FreeOffice, but other than that, it's actually really functional on this computer, which was dying as a Windows 10 computer. This thing is super fast now.
Isn't that crazy? I saw a video of someone that put Windows 10 on like the oldest supported hardware. And I think the machine still had a floppy disk in it or something. And he said it actually ran. Windows 11. On like this old clunky computer, and it still ran just fine.
Yeah, you gotta have some kind of TPM, don't you? Like
You need a
TPM
2.0, yeah.
You can fake it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, because my Carbon Lenovo X1 Carbon Gen 5 will not do Windows 11. It's apparently got too old of TPM. It doesn't actually tell you why it fails to qualify. It's just like, nope, sorry.
My wife's old laptop, it's not that old, won't run 11 because of the CPU. It has the TPM and the memory and this, but the version of i5 is not a version that's supported for Windows 11, which is really weird.
Yeah, because you need.
I like how this conversation is like you can install Windows 11 on anything, even
Except
a computer that has a floppy drive, and then the other is like I can't even install it on a laptop that I bought last year.
Well, because you need the hacked Windows installer thing. I think.
This laptop's from 2017, I think, is when I bought this one.
Well, this laptop my wife's laptop isn't from last year. It means it's from, I think, 8 years ago. It's not. Well, I guess that is a while ago, but really it was. I was surprised it had the TPM2 chip in it, but
right.
Yeah.
I was expecting that was going to be the problem.
There's a couple of tools to do it. So, like Rufus is one. So if I share my screen, so Rufus has a thing where remove the requirement for 4 gigs of RAM, secure boot, and TPM 2.0 is an option in Rufus. Remove the requirement for an online Microsoft account, disable data collection, and then you can set a local account and set regional options. And there's another one too that creates the installer. It's like I think it's like a JSON file for the installer that lets you customize a Windows 11 install. And one of the things it does is remove those requirements. So you can, like, it's not recommended, but you can. I just like to run that.
So the question is, would I take a Rufus install on the laptop I'm handing my wife?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you can, but it's not recommended. If you run into an issue, that could be some interesting troubleshooting because you're basically hacking Windows to go on your.
This is like the early days of the Hackintosh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what it feels like.
I mean, you got to know there's a part of me that's saying overall, in terms of both time and emotional expense, buying a new laptop is way cheaper when it's a family member.
Yeah.
Unless, maybe you want teaching your kids how to hack, then Paul, then you got a deal right there. Your boys would probably go for it.
Right.
Well, you actually got them all covered anyway.
They're on Asus ROG Allies running Windows 11.
So, but yeah, no, it's yeah.
I mean, why not, right? Because they need a browser, they need to do some gaming, and I don't have to deal with maintaining a PC or a laptop or whatever. And it's mobile; they can take it with them if they wanted to. So I thought it was a great solution for that.
That HP Mini Atom-based system that I've waved around from time to time. I was getting ready to. I was thinking about redoing it as Linux, and then our local thrift station donation stop is for Idaho Youth Ranch, and they need stuff for kids. And I'm like, okay, I just did the factory reinstall of the OS and donated to them the day before yesterday because I'm like,
Nice.
they'll actually some kid will actually do something useful with this thing. Whereas I'll have where I would have had a Linux box that spent 80% of its time in the closet, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, I'll miss it. It was in beautiful shape, but at the same time, it's sitting in a box. Hello.
I've thought about this is that X1 Carbon, fantastic machine. Like the only thing that killed it for me is that the memory was soldered on, and I'm stuck with 8 gigs. But I actually went on Alibaba and found the 4G kit for it because it didn't actually ship with 4G, but I saw that it was something you could do on the model. And for like $40, I got the card and the antennas and installed it myself. And it's even though it's not 5G, like 4G is amazing on this. And the thing that's been keeping me,
Damn.
yeah, the thing that's been keeping me now 5G, like the cheapest 5G modem you can find is well over $100. So those get a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got a little place in the back, same place you put the. It takes an SD card. Also, you put the SIM card in there in the same slot. And that's the only thing that's been keeping me from putting Linux on it is I would lose the 4G capability because I don't think there's any software to run that on the Linux side. Some kind of Sierra, I think, is the brand. It's the software you have to run to make that work.
Yeah, someone did. Speaking of retro PCs, this is kind of neat. I need to get better at sharing my screen more quickly. It's like a lot of clicking to share the screen. But they took this old Amstrad retro computer. We were talking about this last week.
I love the idea of putting new guts in an old computers.
That's what they did here. Yeah.
Well, that's
I
what
love
talking
it.
about, like the CyberDucks, and that's what I was just on.
Yeah.
Bring
I
that
was
to a
just
fucking
on
coffee
Reddit
shop.
right now, looking at CyberDucks again.
Right?
Show up with it.
Yes.
But they managed to get like the.
I'd like a latte, please,
It looks like they reused some of the ports.
and some power.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're using the DB25, the DB9, and the
Yeah. Is that crazy?
15. That is nuts.
Pretty cool.
2025
I don't know
inside.
what
That's hilarious.
They found a screen on Amazon that fit, and they hacked it to go inside of
nice.
it. And like Larry said last week, some people are using iPad screens for that. But yeah, I mean, this looks pretty involved.
Yeah, but,
I just
mean,
got second display for. I was fixing M1 MacBook Air for one of my kids, where they accidentally poured some Mucho Mango Arizona tea into the keyboard, and everything survived except for the display computer, which is right there at the base of the keyboard where stuff would get in there. Oh man, that looks messy.
yeah.
Doing some
And,
serious cutting with the Dremel tool.
Yeah,
Whoa, yeah.
but
Wow.
But what sucks is there's nothing wrong with the display. It's just a controller. But
Yeah.
because the controller is like hard soldered into the display, like it just disappears, the cables disappear into the display. You got to buy a whole new display. And so I got a new display, and it was just one of these Amazon, ships from China deals, and it came broken. Like, it works, but like there's a section of the screen where the LCD just doesn't light up, and so left a bad review, and they emailed me. They're like, "Hey, let's make it right. We'll send you a new one." And that one just showed up today. So hopefully I've got better luck with that. But
Nice.
I hate that I have to replace the whole stinking display just for that little video board.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
Apple.
Yeah, you can actually see where it melted, where it flamed out and melted the connector. The little Molex,
Wow.
press to snap in connector is just burned as fuck.
Oh my God! Now he's got a hole saw.
Excellent. This
There should be a content warning for like vintage computer collectors.
Right. Oh, so to make the
he's putting
fan,
a
he
fan
needs
in.
to put some fan in.
Like you can see the
amazing.
epoxy where it came through right there.
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah. Talk about some ugly hack. Lately, he's got like a little nook he's putting in it.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Well, this thing should be a lot lighter at the very least,
right.
Yeah.
I'm sure
with
the
all
case
that cutting
still
and
weighs- yeah,
smaller
right.
computer.
I mean, the end product is.
Oh, it looks.
cool.
Look at that though. You can't see. You hide all that work that he's done.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, you
looks
can't really tell.
amazing.
It's all.
I would
underneath.
100% show up at a coffee
For
shop
sure.
with that.
Me too. 100%.
Yes.
DEFCON.
Oh, come on.
DEFCON, like a CTF.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have some
I
dongles.
Think about doing that
Yeah.
and coming up, but instead of this guy, how about an old compact? Remember those
Yeah.
pluggables?
Sure.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
luggables.
The,
There's
the
a lot of them
we
out
called them
there.
portables. They weren't
Yeah, I know.
laptops. You wouldn't think putting it on your lap, your legs would fall off.
Yeah, but it only had that, what was it, 8 or 9 inch screen. It was really small. I don't know if I could
Yeah.
see a screen that small anymore, but oh my God.
Well, so there's
This is
so many
cool.
screens available that you could swap in.
Yeah, I
For
know.
it.
You'd probably be something somewhere between a small iPad and a Raspberry Pi screen.
Amber.
Yeah, you just
Remember the
go
old
on
Amber
Seed
screens,
or
like 8-inch Amber
Yes.
screens?
and you can simulate that stuff too. I've seen really good jobs where you can like use a modern screen and then make it look like the old one. So like a lot of my new retro video game stuff can make it look like a CRT with scan lines, right?
Yeah.
You can simulate all this stuff really well. It looks really good.
Well, that was exactly what I was thinking of when he said simulate. When Josh said simulate, that's exactly
Yeah.
it. Oh my
Shit,
gosh,
that's crazy.
that's
shit.
crazy shit.
A whole saw. That whole saw actually made me wince. Like
I
that
know.
was
Right? I
terrifying.
saw the whole cell. I was like, oh boy, where's this going?
Like
Did you see
I
it?
What a
think
fun
that-
project though.
Yeah, I'm picking up lock picking again because I suck at it so bad, and I've been doing things to do home automation. That's like the extent of what I'm handling. Like I've got my garage door. One garage door I bought a set to open it from my phone and check whether it's open or closed. It worked. Now I'm setting up the other 4 garages. Like that's the extent of my prod and the Manjaro Linux workstation. Oh wait, then there's more. And I'm using LLM. Okay, never mind. I've got lots of projects. But that,
Did you see the guy that built his own USB cables? USB-C
No.
cables?
no.
Why would
Yeah.
you
What do you
do
do?
that?
This is crazy.
Way
This
too
is
much
like
time.
I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want to go to this level. But this guy has 11-minute video that runs through like testing all the cables, what tester to buy, and he tested a whole bunch of his cables and found that they were like all different. Where is it? Yeah, he put it in a spreadsheet. Right? So that's the
So this
You
is
tested-
great, Scott. Like his content is awesome.
yeah, dude,
like
right?
yeah, he has this this ongoing series where he just buys shit off of AliExpress and then really tested it from a very strong EE perspective. Is this
Yes.
good? Is it not? Trying to
Yeah.
find like really good stuff for cheap on AliExpress.
It's
pretty-
like the
Nice.
if you guys have ever followed the audiophile stuff with the cables like
Yes.
monster cable like these
Correct.
and then somebody pulls out a damn clothes hanger and
Yeah,
like does a blind listening test and you
Yeah.
can't tell.
Well, because it's about the conductiveness of the actual cable. You see, he's got that cable apart.
Yeah.
The shielding just prevents interference. The
Right.
cables inside of it actually holds the signal or carries the signal.
Yeah, it's
So,
just a signal. Yeah.
yeah. So,
which
but
is-
his custom built cable, in the end, I mean, the soldering was really gnarly. So there's the things you have to solder onto.
Yeah, because they're
right
making
there.
a billion of them, right?
Yeah. So if you make your own, you have to solder wires onto those 4 pads. Right
That's
there.
not bad, though. That's not that bad.
I suck
Yeah,
at like
that could
Josh's
be-
with the lock picking. I suck at soldering. I need to practice more.
Well, and the thing is, like that's now like the quality of that soldering. That's what's going to keep that thing together.
Right.
Yeah.
Where's your strain relief? Like, how do you do strain relief?
Oh, he has.
You don't want.
He has a thing. He has a thing that does when he puts it together.
Okay.
I know what you're saying. So he solders. Those 2 aren't bad.
Yeah, that's the
The
outside
other side,
ones.
yeah, the other side is a lot closer. He's got this really cool cable tester too.
That is
Which
cool.
I
Yeah,
kinda-
this
That
guy's
I want.
legit. Yeah,
I've
this
got
guy
something
is
I want the
kinda-
cable tester.
But then he does something for the strain relief. He bought a part that's listed, well, somewhere in
I
there.
got a little cheap version of that. That's pretty useful.
He put some a pot. Oh, there it is, right there. See that connector?
Ah,
Yeah, you can buy those on AliExpress to make your own cables.
There you
There it is,
go.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're not pulling on the cable. Wow. That
That's
thing.
his-
That thing looks beautiful.
Like I would buy one from him. I don't know that I want to go through all the work of putting one together.
Yeah. Seriously.
And he
No,
said-
now he's
he
making
said
it
this-
look even better.
Well, he said that failed. He said he didn't like the way that came out. You see him removing it right there. He's like, I didn't like the way
Yeah.
that came out. But
I
his
mean, that
cable
looks
did.
pretty good right there.
Yeah,
Right?
I agree.
that looks,
agree
too.
it looks cool right there.
But see, the thing is, his cable, the lower the number, the better. Tested at 60 milliamps. Is that how he's measuring it? The DIY cable,
Ohms. Those are milliohms. I think.
milliohms. Thank you. And then, but this cable right here that I don't know which one that is.
Oh, I know
It's
that. I've got several of those. That looks like a
65.
Looks like one
U-green.
I have.
Yeah,
Was
65.
Is that U-green?
I'm not sure. He didn't like put a link to this cable in there because I'm like, well, I can go through all that work and get it to 60,
Or you
but
could
this
get
one was
that.
65.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Make that full screen. I think we can
Yeah,
almost
exactly. I
read
wanna
that.
see because that looks like.
And turn up the quality.
Yeah, that's U-green.
Is it?
I've got a ton of
Is it?
U-greens.
It's not
Enhance.
JPK?
Enhance.
Yeah, enhance.
Get your glasses.
Now
there's
zoom
some-
in, Paul. Zoom in.
I kind of don't think I
know.
can. I don't think I can zoom in on a YouTube video.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, can you read it?
Yeah.
and
Just
tell us
Control
then?
plus plus. No, it's not
Control
working.
plus-
It's not, it's not working.
Helping, aren't we?
It's not working.
Drop the link in. Drop the link in.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can
Somebody
pull it
take
up.
a
Oh,
screenshot.
also that
Because it
one
looks
that's 120.
Like TOPK.
I've got that one
Look,
too.
Hey,
That
look,
it-
you
And what
guys,
is this?
you
I
guys.
want to know what that device is too.
That was the same thing.
Listen,
Yeah.
You guys,
Hey,
listen.
Lee?
You're measuring the milliohms of your USB cables. Does it really matter? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
No.
Like this is nerds being nerds. Buy
Right.
100 USB cables
Dude,
off. Of
have you met
Amazon.
us?
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, but
I
I,
mean,
would rather be
it's
talking about
true.
the Ex Libra story and the other YouTube video. Also, Lee, look in the chat at that deck, please.
I thought he did say what that cable was. He did hold up
Hang
that
on.
cable. So you can go back and watch the video. He does hold it up at some point, I believe, and says he doesn't recognize the name of the manufacturer on there.
Well, what we should do is we should spin up a fake Amazon company right now, rebrand whatever that cable is, and then you should say it was our cable, and we'll sell tens of them.
It's the hack.
Tens.
Right,
of them.
tens of them for people who care about. Yeah, I just want
Micro
quality
ohms.
cable. Yeah, I just find it's hard to find quality cables.
For sure. Yeah,
Right.
I do too.
Which
know,
you
the
don't.
only
You know,
thing
I
that
don't want to be.
happens
I
when
don't
we're
wanna be
discussing
troublesome.
Oh,
that
I've-
kind of stuff. When we're discussing micro ohms, all I can think about is like, good God, how safe our lives must be to get to discuss this.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's a very.
What is the best conductiveness on a cable that we can purchase? Right. This is the first world problems.
You got to see this thing Mandy found, guys.
That's my
What's-
like. Okay, so I look at our cyber decks a lot now, and that is one of my favorite setups for sure.
It's like something out of a sci-fi TV series of what a computer would look like in the future. It's kind of cool.
Wow,
Everyone's
that's
really
a
like,
cool.
All right, I'll just show that. to the
See-
audience because that is pretty wild.
That's one of my favorites. The others, because like I want to
don't know what
build
we're
one
talking
more
about.
out of
Hang on, yeah.
like in a toolbox,
Oh, I saw that.
right?
Yep.
So, but
I saw
well,
that the other day.
before
Wow.
yeah, because I think
That's
I posted
neat.
it in our Signal because that's
That's a command
So
center,
good.
is what
Yeah,
that
it
is.
is. But doesn't it
wild.
look like something would come out of like a 60s sci-fi series in terms of what a computer
Yeah.
would look like?
Yep.
yeah.
In an
It
looks like something-
integrating way. It's really neat.
It looks like something AI would generate if you
That's
asked
what
it
I think
to.
too. I think it's AI generated.
Could be.
Retrofuturism. It's awesome.
It's okay. I mean, it's AI generated or not. It's kind of a neat idea.
It
Hey,
beautiful,
Paul, you think you
sure.
build one?
Yeah, I think he's running Arch, by the way.
Yeah, that is definitely Arch.
I mean, if you're gonna build a computer like that, why not run Arch, right? Like that
mean,
tracks.
Yeah, but the retro looking window manager with all
Yeah,
console screen. I mean, with all command line screen. It's like
yeah, because you can customize it. I also like the PC builds that they build it right into the desk. I saw a really cool one where the desk is your PC case. I really want that to be my next.
Linus has done a bunch of those.
Yeah. Linus Tech
So
Tips.
that's like the
Oh, also on that one, I want to call out, make sure we say that it is Zealous Ideal Worry 881 on Reddit. That's his build.
And it
build.
is, that is a real photograph. I just checked it out. That is not
Yeah.
AI. That is a
Wow.
real
No.
photograph.
Wait, how did
exactly.
you check? How did you check that? Did you ask
Oh,
AI to check if it's AI?
No, so you zoom into it and you just look for optic issues just
okay.
natural blur and stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
because
because the AI is
the
not-
shutter
not
speed isn't too
perfect.
high.
Yeah.
It isn't high enough or the light is too low. Yeah.
My
Hey,
friend
he
sent
had
me
a
these
link to a
things that were
video
like,
on how he built it.
no, nice. My friend sent me this thing, and it was these gigantic inflatable boats. Like it looked like a yacht, but it was a boat. And he lives on the pond, Johnny, on Johnson's Pond, right? And so he's like, "Oh, I want one of these," and I'm like, "I hate to tell you, dude, but that's AI. Like, those aren't real. Like nothing on the
There's so
internet
many-
is real anymore. It's
So many fake products. Like they're these
Yeah.
like furniture, like these big beanbag looking things, but they look like dragons. Like you see them all the time on Facebook and shit like that.
It's totally
And,
fake. Well, we talked about
yeah.
it on Wednesday. How Linux Journal article was fake about the
Yeah.
new init scripts and stuff. Like it's getting harder
Oh,
to tell. What's
Like the
real
big
and not
breach
real.
of 16 billion whatever. Like that thing is fake. Also,
Is it fake?
not
Like,
not
I've got
not because of AI though.
well.
No,
so,
it's
you know,
it's just
I'm
the
doing
usual
what is
roll
that?
up.
What's fake?
Yeah.
It's just another one of those mother of all breaches things where they've
Oh.
claimed to compile like billions of accounts together and pretend it's a new breach.
But so the article that I read this morning, or that I got shown this morning, says that a high percentage were not included in any previous breach, right? Like so, who knows about the legitimacy of it, right? I have no idea. But
The last time I looked at that mother of all breaches one, and there was just like garbage, unreadable data in it.
sure, me too.
Like a ton of it was just garbage data. So it would be interesting to do. I guess I have time this weekend. I could do the analysis.
Well, wait, is it shared? Like so, I haven't really looked
don't
into
know.
it much. Yeah, I don't know either.
I just saw I think it was Bleeping Computer or somebody that actually like dives into these kinds of things was just absolutely slamming it. So I was like, okay, like if they're saying this is BS, I trust that. I'm not going to waste my time on it.
Yeah.
The mother of all breach is like years old, and most of it is anyway, and most of it's crap. I've looked at some of it, and Adrian, 100% support you. A good, like a majority percentage of it is just absolute crap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I shared chunks of it when I did that investigation on Mastodon a while back. I don't know how easy that would be to find, but like, immediately when I started analyzing it, I was like, oh yeah, this is just trash.
What did I have? Did you guys see the teardown of the Sonos device from Pwn to Own?
No.
No.
This was some serious hardware hacking. These guys did amazing work. But they used we covered an article of someone that I believe this was the one that hacked into Sonos devices and wrote a bunch of code and did research. So they used that and they reverse engineered the Sonos Era 300, which is a Sonos system that goes into vehicles. I forget which model vehicles. They
Oh,
said
really? I
used
didn't
it.
know there was Sonos in vehicles.
Yeah, I didn't either.
In vehicles, yeah. Sonos are a high-end smart speaker which retails around $500. Oh, maybe this wasn't the one in a vehicle. I thought they said somewhere in here that it was installed in vehicles. They got
Yeah, I didn't
60
know they
grand
Some
for it.
high-end vehicles have Sonos speakers. Yes.
Yeah. So they tore it down. The interesting part, right? They identify the components, but then they did this trick where they overlaid. So what did they do? They locate the pins on the board. They took pictures of the PCB and overlaying with ball diagrams from the data sheet. So that's what you're seeing here is the actual PCB,
Wow.
and then they're overlaying the pinouts from the data sheet on it, which I had not seen before. I thought that was really cool. To find the connection points where
Good
they
Lord.
needed to solder to get the eMMC, clock command and data to be able to transfer data off the chip.
Ho, ho, ho.
All that. Oh, but in order to do that, they had to apply voltage to it, but they didn't want the CPU to kick in to boot the system, so they had to hold the CPU in a reset state by soldering onto this other pin. It's just,
Wow.
it's just awesome.
What
hardware
was the
hacking.
goal of this? What was it to dump the firmware?
Dump the firmware, yeah, to find the vulnerability, which they eventually did.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's one of the. This is the UART port, and they were able to dump the firmware.
Mhm.
I might be
I
getting.
think they
this
avoided
confused
their
with the-
warranty.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then they were able to ultimately eventually get code execution. And they got
Awesome.
the 60 grand. Yeah. They found then it goes on to the vulnerability in the HLS, HTTP live streaming protocol. It's ended up what was the actual exploit. But yeah, really awesome article.
Speaking of warranties, have you seen what's going on with GPUs? Where there's whole trucks of them getting stolen, and or sorry, that was the Switch too. But with GPUs, people are ordering them, and it shows up like cereal boxes and stuff like that are in the box.
Really?
Like there's just a huge amount of fraud going on right now because they're still like the supply chain is still struggling. They're hard to get your hands on.
So you're saying that the GPU I ordered from Temu isn't really a
I
5090?
know, right?
Yeah, for $49, probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Damn.
I'm
I ordered
shocked.
7,000 of them. I figured I'd make so much
Temu
money
is
on
a fine,
cryptocurrency I could make my money back.
outstanding
You're right.
Uh huh.
So, Paul, before we wrap, I have to mention that I went to Armenia.
Yes.
And,
How was that?
It was amazing. It was. Let me see if I can. I probably might not want to share my screen. Let me see. I took a bunch of photos and stuff. But
It looked awesome. I saw some of your Instagram or whatever postings on it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have a bunch of stuff to post, but yeah, this is like a mix of memes I've downloaded and my actual pictures. I'm not going to share my screen.
Yeah, I have the same.
Right.
I have the same problem. I tend to pick a
But I-
monitor and I share that monitor, and then I drag stuff into that
Yeah.
monitor to share it.
So the place is amazing. So many cool places there. A lot of people speak English. Like anybody that works like a white collar job will speak English. Taxi drivers not so much. Everybody there speaks both Armenian and Russian because of their it's a ex-Soviet bloc state, except for the the diaspora that went back to Armenia. Like if you were born in Los Angeles or some other country, you probably don't speak Russian. But it was interesting. The conferences was a mix of English, Russian, and Armenian speakers. But at CyberGen, which is a conference put on by the Central Bank of Armenia, they had live translators. So you could pick up a little device with an earpiece and slap it on your ear, and you could hear someone in a thick accent translating in real time, and it worked pretty well. It was pretty impressive. And then so I spoke at two events there at B-Sides Yerevan, which Yerevan is the capital of Armenia, and that was at Yerevan University. There is where they held it, and then in a resort town in Dilijan is where the central banks conference was.
How did you
And-
get involved with that? Like, what was, did they reach out to you?
Armenian mafia. It's the Armenian
Yeah,
mafia.
Paul.
that reached
Paul
out
is
to me.
Armenian.
I'm Armenian, and they call me Uncle Paul. It's all my cybersecurity friends in Armenia.
So what happened is I started working with Sci-Hub, which is like their focus is evangelizing cybersecurity and kind of like a startup accelerator for cybersecurity startups in Armenia. There's actually a shocking number of like tech companies that are Armenian based, like Service Titan.
Oh, yeah.
I think what was the other big one? I want to say
What's
Crisp
Entronix?
AI
What's
or
Entronix
something like
company?
that.
Antronix, he got bought. That was I don't remember what they called it now because they got bought, and I haven't used that name in a long time. But Antronig and Chris have had a startup, and they're still doing it today that does cyber deception.
Oh yeah, it was not Illumio. It was shoot.
What was the name?
Yeah, his talk was amazing at B-Sides. It was so good.
I advised their company, Alluria.
Illyria, yeah.
Yeah, Alluria.
Yeah, me and him talked.
Antronig is awesome.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about deception. He's trying to consider whether or not to bring it back. Right now, he's helping like small to mid-sized companies do security in Armenia because they don't really have resources. And his talk was all about the crazy stuff he learned while he was doing that work. You know, like what the typical stuff that you find in Armenian companies. And yeah, a lot of tech debt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The country as a whole has a lot
It's
of
the same
tech
thing in
debt.
small to medium here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing in small to medium here. We have the same tech debt in small to medium that they have in Armenia. They just have far less resources in Armenia to do anything about it. So, you know, we're trying to build sort of packages that we can do small to medium security here. And hopefully the same packages will apply there. We'll see. God knows.
There's a lot of threat intel stuff as well, which is really interesting. Like seeing like state-sponsored hacking threat intel type talks from the perspective of a native Russian or a native Armenian. So it was really interesting seeing it from the other perspective.
Antronig did an awesome interview with us probably years ago now, about his experiences running the incident response when the war from Azerbaijan broke out.
Yeah, 2020. Mhm.
Yeah, which I feel like is just a continuing cycle of war breaking out in that border. But one of the bigger ones, yeah, he describes all the things. It was an awesome interview. One of the ones that stick out in my mind, well, mostly because I'm Armenian and those are my Armenian people, right?
Yeah, one of the speakers described that as the biggest bug bounty that they've ever had was the war.
Yeah, for sure.
That was kind of funny. So I guess it's been a long enough that they can laugh about it at this point.
Yeah, I want to set up like a sensor network that fakes network devices and collects malware. I know people have them, and I find it interesting that you're not going to find a lot of public information as to how people build those sensor networks, because then the attackers would know how the fake infrastructure works and how to avoid them, right? It's kind of like that YouTube doesn't tell you how it manages content, because then everyone would get information on how to work.
Oh, and the
around it.
deception stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the trick is you don't use some stuff you fake, but some stuff you don't fake. Like when
Just use an
Thinx
actual
does.
device. Yeah.
Yeah, so their AWS API keys are real AWS API
Right.
keys on AWS's infrastructure, but they only exist to trigger an alert.
Yeah, but I was
same thing
looking
with
at-
the.
Sorry, I was
They do
looking at
credit card
Canary-
numbers too.
Yeah, and I was looking at Canary Tools, but the way that it emulates the device is a very low interaction honeypot, is what I
Yeah.
surmised. And I'm like, that's not gonna. I need to collect malware, right? In exploits, and I'm like, the Canary Tools are more about a warning system and less about interaction.
It's SecOps. It's a SecOps product. It's for detecting an attack, not for studying adversaries.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of these deception companies went wrong, and where FireEye went wrong is Like they're selling products that allow people to nerd out about the attackers and their techniques and their malware and stuff like that. Like the FireEye Annex would capture this malware, do analysis for you. And then when you go out there and you talk to defenders, they're like, we would just rather not have malware, please. Right?
Yeah.
Like we don't have time to like put the attacker in a mirror maze and study their behavior, or, you know, like geek out about this malware. Like, we got 100,000 other things to do to get to.
You know, that's our jobs with people that work for cybersecurity vendors, and I think that's who should be consuming that. And then coming out of that should be, here's a feature for my product that helps you detect and prevent that, right?
Yeah.
And leave the enterprises to do their thing.
Yeah.
That's why
I still think deception is just amazingly underutilized for early detection. Like, it's like you could either, you know, pump 5 billion events into a SIM every day and try and detect something, or you could just roll out. Yeah, you could roll out some honeypots and honey tokens.
And Canary Tools is, I mean, it's free if you want to do it yourself, right? It's free. They have the community.
CanaryTokens.org and Open Canary is.
Yeah, there's a GitHub for Open Canary, and you can run them in containers. So if you want to, you know, roll up your sleeves and get technical, you could conceivably deploy a whole bunch of containers for free.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it in a couple hours and just be done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's lower. I was like studying how I make this higher interaction, and I was like, no, that's.
Yeah, it's a different type. That's a different type of honeypot, right? Like, really, they're borrowing the idea of a honeypot for a different use case.
So what's interesting, you guys are talking about like the Open Canary. I've been working on that. I don't know if you're trying to shut it down, Paul, but I built one over this last week on an old Raspberry Pi. I think this is a 3, maybe.
3B. Yeah, I've got a bunch of 3Bs floating around.
And so one of my test was, okay, if I run Open, like, and I go through all the Open Canary, I configure it well. Would I, as an attacker, if it was me, like, would I be able to detect it as a canary before I got caught, right? And the answer is, out of the box, yeah, I could detect it out of the box. I mean, like, if you have the scanning alert set up, of course not, you know, like, but I don't think that's reasonable in a real network, right? But just based out of the box, I would be able to determine that the Open Canary was a honeypot before I started interacting with it. But you know, after a few hours, I think I've got this at a place where I could detect it as a honeypot, but only after I got caught, right?
Only after you enumerate it, right? You're just catching the enumeration of it.
Right. Well, I think that, you know, just I don't know. I don't want to give too much away to anybody, but like, if you were to truly, like, really understand the way that a Synology NAS or whatever you're emulating looks on the network versus an Open Canary, you would see it right away. Right. What are we
This
looking
presentation was this presentation was so funny.
Intranet's awesome. Oh my god.
And basically, he's talking about, like, trying to fix this tech debt problem using open source shit for all these Armenian companies, and he's saying, yeah, you know what? Like, a lot of this stuff that you pay for isn't worth all that much anyway.
Well, the big joke is it's open source under the covers anyway.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But yeah, he talked a lot about. He's not a huge Linux fan. He prefers FreeBSD.
Yeah.
But for desktop, he will stand for Linux all day. Scream driven development. And he had a whole rant about RAID cards too.
It's awesome.
It was a great talk. It was in Armenian, but it was a tech rant, so I followed most of it.
Right.
Like, between the slides and the words that are in English, because, you know, nobody creates Armenian words for different tech things. I was able to follow a surprising amount of it, even though he's speaking in Armenian. Anyway,
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you you had fun out there.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
yeah, I did. I still need to share a lot of these pictures. I just didn't have time when I was there. I was so busy.
Well, I mean, and you got back in the country too, which is important.
Yeah, it was. I did turn off biometrics on my way back in.
Yeah.
That is now just like general advice. But my partner is Fernanda is teaching in Germany, and one of her there's like a handful of students, and they were coming from all over, and one of them wasn't allowed to leave the U.S. Got detained by ICE trying to leave the airport.
Wow.
So yeah, it's crazy. It's like I thought, what do they care if somebody's leaving? I thought
Right.
that would happen on the way back, right?
I was talking to Chris Lindsay a couple days ago, and he was in Israel speaking, and he got out on like one of the last 2 flights Friday before the airport
before they
shut
locked
down
things
and
down.
everything, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, now looking back, I kind of understand that there were signs the few days before, but being just visiting for the first time, speaking and stuff for the first time, he's like, I didn't quite pick up that it was necessarily going to be out of the ordinary.
Mm.
Yeah. So he got back to Florida, and then they detained him.
It's crazy. Crazy times we live in.
Yep. All right, I have not eaten all day. I got to go eat something.
Yeah, I got a meeting coming up shortly. So, hey, thanks everyone for doing the Hacker Syndicate live stream and hanging out with us.
So
Johnny,
good to see
good seeing
Johnny.
you. I know I
Hope
haven't
you
seen
see
you
the
forever.
message that I put in the chat.
Don't be a stranger.
I
You have to
also-
come on the boat with us.
I also brought back this.
Have to.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
I think I've had a bottle. I think I have a bottle of that.
Yeah, so this
really
was the
good.
speaker gift to everyone who spoke at the central banks, and everybody had to do a shot of cognac at the beginning of their talk.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's cognac. It looks like Scotch or bourbon, but it's actually cognac.
yeah,
It's Armenian
grapes.
cognac. Yeah.
Their wine is very good too.
Yeah, dude, Armenian wine is awesome. Now, you got me wrapping it up, and now you're talking about Armenian wine. It is absolutely
All right.
delicious, dude.
I'm dropping off. Nice talking to y'all.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right,
Bye.
I'm gonna stop the
All right.
live stream. Thanks, everyone.
All right,
Great seeing you guys.
See
Take
ya.
care.
Till next time.
bye.
See you later.